This is my review for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier Season 1 Episode 3 titled Power Broker. Now so far I've enjoyed this show a hell of a lot. I thought that the action, the character arcs have all been very good. I've enjoyed it more than WandaVision. Now WandaVision was more of a wacky show, weird. This is more of a political thriller, more of a action themed show. And they're two very different shows, so they're going to be different, but this show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, has hit some very interesting themes, got to do with depression, PTSD and race. I've been impressed by the writers that they have tried to tackle these issues in the show, and so far have paid off and done really, really well. Now I hope by episode 4, 5 and 6 those themes aren't abandoned. Those nice arcs that they set up with their writing aren't just thrown away. I hope they have meaning to the show. I hope they have payoff to the show, because they're big issues, and I hope they don't shy away from them, because if you're going to set them up, have some payoff for it. But last week we were introduced to an old Captain America, a black super soldier. Now I don't know if he donned the cape, the suit of Captain America, the metaphorical cape of Captain America, or he was just a super soldier that fought in the war. Now, since he came back from the war, he was put in prison for 30 years, he was experimented on, so he was treated pretty bad. And that parallels to what Sam was going through, because he's been treated pretty bad as well when he's outside of the Falcon costume. He tries to go get a bank loan, not going to happen, The police stop him, think he's causing trouble because he's a black man, But if he had the suit on, oh yeah, high fives, selfies, all that kind of thing. So I do like that. I do like that they're hitting these themes and they aren't afraid to show the audience that these themes do exist in the world, and even superheroes face them. Now, Bucky is going through a lot as well. He's trying to find his redemption. He's killed a lot of people as the Winter Soldier. He's trying to move on from that. He's trying to be a better person. He's trying to, get that redemption that Steve thought he could get. Now, an interesting dynamic also with Sam is that Sam never thought he was good enough to be Captain America, but he's going on a journey now that I think will end up, he will become Captain America. He will think that he's good enough. He is worthy to be that character. We also got John Walker, the new Captain America, who has been chosen by the government to be the new Captain America. The same government that said to Sam, you're making the right decision by giving up the shield. A black man giving up the shield, but then they go and choose a white man to be Captain America. So far, I've enjoyed this show. The writing, everything has been absolutely top notch. Now, episode 3, Power Broker, is a very different episode from the previous two. There is no race themes really hitting this episode. It's more of an action thriller to it, and a lot more comedic moments, which actually worked. They weren't cheesy, they weren't out of place, they actually worked really well. So, look, basically this episode, to find the source of the super soldier serum, Sam and Bucky must scale a ladder of lowlifes, starting in Madripoor with Zemo. Now, Madripoor is a city in the comics. I'm not too familiar with it. I think Wolverine used to hang out there sometime as well, a few of the X-Men. So that was introduced. Pretty cool city, actually. Looks like a black market per se, but I thought just the tone of the whole city, kind of like a Blade Runner kind of vibe, was pretty awesome. But yeah, so this episode, they're trying to figure out where this super soldier serum has come from. Where's the origin? How is it getting created? And because they're hunting 8 super soldiers who have powers. Now, the super soldier serum, as we find out in this episode, is very different from the one that Cap got to take originally. The one originally made you big, muscular. This one, you just take it. Doesn't matter what you look like. It won't change your appearance. It will just give you superpowers, super strength and all that kind of stuff. So the serum has changed over time, and yeah, so that's the way that's gone. But yeah, so Sam and Bucky come to the realization that they need to go see Zemo, because Zemo's a very knowledgeable guy. Of course, the villain from Civil War caused a lot of destruction with the Avengers, but he had a good case as well, because the Avengers ended up killing his family, killing his people. But in this episode, it seemed like a reboot of the character, because in this episode he's rich. He's very charismatic. Maybe that's just because years have passed by, he's moved on, I don't know. But Bucky thinks it's necessary to break Zemo out of prison, and that ends up what happens. They break him out of prison. Now, it didn't actually show them breaking him out of prison. Bucky was explaining to Sam how he would do it, but he had already had it done. He didn't tell Sam because Sam would lose his head, and Zemo had broken out already. So I thought that element of the episode was really funny. But Zemo is a rich character. His family comes from money. He has private planes, flashy suits, stuff like that. So they go to this city, Madripoor, to find the origin for this serum, and to go find a guy called the Power Broker. Now, it could be a girl, could be a guy, we don't know yet, and it actually might be a character that you might not think. But they go to this place, very Blade Runner type vibes. They're in the skies. Bucky is playing the Winter Soldier. His kind of character is he's being owned by Zemo. Zemo is this kind of villain that's known, and he has Bucky as his own kind of dog. You know, he does whatever he wants, and Sam has to play this flashy, rich guy. I don't really know, but he's dressed up in a certain suit. And Zemo was saying, whatever you do, don't break character, because this city is full of hitmen, it's full of assassins, full of, maybe there's people who have super soldier serum in this place, or superpowers, I don't really know. But yeah, they said don't break character. But the power broker doesn't like them being in his city, because he's the one who calls the shots in this place, and he wants them to leave. But then Winter Soldier fights back against a few of the guys, and so they eventually get to the background of this place to go see the power broker. But the power broker isn't really unveiled in this episode who it might be. Now I'll get to who I think it is, but there's a nice little exchange there, because they're trying to go undercover. They're trying to find out where this super soldier serum is coming from. And as I said, don't break character, but Sam's phone rings and it's his sister, and I thought it was a good moment there. He gets away with it, but then at the last moment she says Sam, and a big fight sequence breaks out, and the woman who's kind of the owner of this bar and has called him back, she gets shot. So there is somebody, a hitman or somebody with a gun, a sniper, looking out for the trio. So yeah, that was interesting. But then we're introduced back to Sharon Carter, of course, Peggy Carter's niece. Now I have a theory that Sharon Carter might be the power broker. She talked about that she was never dusted away, but she was left behind, because remember, she worked with Sam, she worked with Cap to, remember, get the shield, get the suit out in Civil War, and they were on the run and stuff like that. So she's been on the run since that. She was never snapped away, and she's gone to Manipur to make a new life for her, and probably do some dodgy dealings, you know, to make a life for herself, because she couldn't go back home because she would have been arrested. She hasn't talked to her family in years. So there's a good possibility that she is the power broker, because she's been here for a few years. She's able to fight, she's able to look after herself, she has connections. So like, why wouldn't she become the power broker? So I think that's a possibility, definitely. And she helps them out in this episode, but she helps them in a way that I think benefits her as well. And in the end, she leaves the trio, and she might come back for the next few episodes, I don't know. But it was kind of cool to see Sharon Carter, and she had some awesome action sequences. But yeah, as I said, Zemo, he's rich. He's very different in this episode. It's like a reboot of the character, because he's more charismatic, he's more jokes coming out of him. But I thought the interaction, the chemistry between the three of them was actually very good, especially on the plane, in the nightclubs. It was good, and I really liked it. And you know what, Zemo, Daniel Bruhl, he's brilliant in the role, and I actually want him to come back. I actually want him to be a Loki type character, an anti-villain. Now I know he's done a lot of bad stuff, but so has Loki, and he got to redeem himself. He had his own show, he worked with the Avengers and stuff like that. So, you know, maybe there is redemption there for Zemo in the end. But I do like him. I think the interaction, the comedic moment between Sam, Bucky and Zemo, it wasn't over the top, it wasn't cheesy, it actually worked, and I actually laughed a few times, and it was actually a really good episode. This is my favourite episode of the season so far. Even though I've really loved one and I really loved two, this episode was just nearly perfect for me. But they go and they discover this, Sharon Carter knows of a location where they could find the origin for the super soldier serum. Convenient, huh? But Sharon Carter brings them to this place, and they find this kind of scientist who has been working for Hydra, he's been working for the CIA, now he's working independently and is providing these super soldier serums to the power broker or to whoever wants it, and that's what he's been working on to create this serum. And he's the new guy who's able to give people serum but not change their appearance. So if I was to take it, I wouldn't change, I just have super strength. Back in the old days, if I was to take it, I'd grow big muscles and I would be huge just like Steve. So that's interesting that he's developed this serum. But yeah, this lab that he's working on stuff, he said he's created 20 of them. 20 super soldiers, and we only know of 8. Now, a lot of those other serums, those soldiers could get killed, destroyed. I don't know what exactly is going to happen to them. John Walker could get the serum. Sam could get this serum in the end. Who knows exactly where this serum will end up? Maybe a new character will get it. We'll have to wait and see. But we only know of 8, and 20 people have it, or that's an extra 12, or maybe there's extra bottles of the serum. So yeah, we'll have to see how that develops and see as that goes. But of course, they're back in Manipur. There's a hit putting all of them. And it reminds me a bit of John Wick. You know when John Wick is walking through the city of New York, I think it is, and he starts to get text messages. People around him start getting text messages. John Wick, a bounty, whatever, 1 million or whatever it is, 2 million for John Wick, dead or alive. So that reminded me of John Wick, and there's a hit on these 3 guys. And so all the hitmen, all the assassins are after Zemo, Sam, and Bucky to kill them for a reward. So they all end up in this place that they're meeting the scientist, and then they try and kill them. And you know what? The action sequence was absolutely brilliant. And you know what added to this action sequence? Blood. It was an R-rated kind of episode. There wasn't F-bombs or gross things like that. It's just when Sharon Carter was fighting, there was a lot of blood. Bucky, when he was fighting, there was blood there. So I think it added to the scenes big time. I really enjoyed that they added the blood. Like, it's not like I love blood or anything, but the action sequences felt real. And Sharon Carter had a pretty cool action sequence where she took on 3 or 4 guys at once. Felt very real. I like this action in this episode compared to the last two, because in this episode it wasn't choppy. It didn't cut from camera to camera. It actually stayed in them for a little bit longer, which is the action I prefer, and then it cut. So I thought that was good. And then of course they get away in the end, and Sharon Carter doesn't want to work with them anymore. She just said, look, I helped you, now can you get me kind of my freedom back in the US? So that's what Sam agreed to, and we'll have to see if he can get that for Sharon in the end. But yes, they go back to kind of their chill time, you know, Sam, Bucky, and Zemo, to see what their next step is. Where do they go to catch the flag smashers? Because they're an interesting group who I've said in the last few episodes, I don't necessarily think they're terrorists. I don't think they're doing bad things for the sake of doing bad things. I actually think they have an interesting plan where they want to help people. And they do. They want to provide vaccines. But the lead girl of the flag smashers, someone she knows died, and it kind of leads her a little bit crazy. And maybe this flag smasher group are bad, because they end up blowing up a building at the end of people. There was just some innocent, probably some not innocent, but a building full of people, and she just ends up blowing it up with no remorse and killing them, and says this is all these people know. So very dark there. She is kind of reminds me of Zemo from Civil War, because she's lost a lot of people, probably due to politics, war, society, I don't know. But Zemo went through a similar thing where the Avengers caused the death of his family, and he was trying to get back at them. So I did think that was interesting. So the Flag Smashers are bad, but they're kind of not bad, because some of the Flag Smashers group are trying to do good things, while this girl ended up being the one who was evil, and the guy in the car next to her was like, what are you doing? And he was even shocked. And you know, so I did think that was interesting. But near the end of the episode, we get a cool cameo. Now, it's a character from Black Panther, from Wakanda. Now, this character first popped up in Civil War, then in Black Panther, and now here. And it makes sense, because Zemo is the one responsible for the old king of Wakanda being dead. You know, Black Panther's father. You know, so it does make sense, and maybe the Wakandians want, Wakandans want him dead, Zemo dead, because he killed their king. So that's interesting that they brought in a character from Wakanda, and it's a pity that Chadwick Boseman, of course, passed away, because we won't get to see him anymore in the role, which is a shame and a pity, because I think it would have been cool to see him pop up here. But I like how his legacy will live on with the other people of Wakanda, with the next Black Panther, and even these side characters as well that have popped up in previous movies, so they can live on as Chadwick Boseman was still here in the role and as the character. So I do like that a lot. I like how Chadwick Boseman's character wouldn't probably want him dead, but he wouldn't want Zemo out there just living day to day freely. He would want him back in prison. So I do think that's interesting. So we'll have to see how next week goes. But Falcon and the Winter Soldier, guys, it surprised me big time. It's a show. The trailers I watched, I thought it was okay. Didn't get me excited, but now I can't stop watching this show. I can't wait for next week's episode. I've been enjoying it. There's so much to break down in the episode, so much themes, racism, as I talked about already, depression, dealing with things, dealing with struggle. We've got John Walker here as well with his sidekick, Battlestar, and they're not getting anywhere kind of following government regulations. So what they're going to do now in the next episode is follow Sam and Bucky to see where they're going, so they can get some leads and capture Zemo and put him back in prison. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But guys, give a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know below your thoughts on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier so far, all 3 episodes. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Who's your favourite character? Zemo has turned into one of my favourite characters. He's very, very good in this episode. Very funny, and I want to see him get some sort of redemption, and maybe for him to pop up in other MCU movies or shows in the future, because, I don't know, just the way the actor plays him, there's definitely something about it. But guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Enjoy. Comment below. I want to hear your thoughts, and I'll catch you in the next one, guys. And I wish I had some super soldier serum, but I want the kind Steve had, so I got a 6-pack and big arms, not the one that the new guy created, because that's just no fun.